Good afternoon. For those of you who don't know, my name is Maya Karen. I run a fashion blog called Classically Kept. It does feature luxury, contemporary, and how to style, and now natural hair care. So if you are into any of those things, please consider subscribing and hit the notification bell. That way you will never miss a video. So in today's video, I am going to give you 10 ways of how you may be ruining your natural hair. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so before we get started with the 10 things, I just want to say that in this list, I am not going to be talking about products in particular. I'm just talking about your everyday regimen or things that you might be doing to your hair, okay? Products are very relative and they are not necessarily sometimey, but there are so many different textures, there are so many different porosities out there that me talking about specific products is not going to help you. So I'm going to keep this very general, very basic, okay? So the very first one that you might need to think about or that you might want to stop doing, and I know it's hard and we love all of these influencers and hair gurus because I have some that I do follow as well, but I want you to stop following their hair care regimen and their advice verbatim to the T. And here's the reason why. Like I just said, we all have our influencers, we all have our hair gurus that we love. There's Long Hair Don't Care, there's Natural 85, there's Indigenous Strands. While they all have gorgeous hair and while they are giving you their hair regimens, it is a baseline, it is a guide, it is a synopsis. It's not for you to go to your local CVS, your Target, or your Natural Tyson and pick out every single product that they use and then do everything that they do verbatim. And then you're pissed off because your hair doesn't look like theirs, and then you either DM them, you send them a nasty gram, or whatever. The reason why you don't want to do that is because you need to learn how to, or you need to listen to when your hair speaks to you. You don't want to follow somebody else's hair regimen verbatim because they might have a different texture, okay? I know for myself, I have 3 different textures in my hair. So although I do use one product throughout my hair when it comes to my regimen, it is going to react to all 3 of those hair textures very differently, okay? Now we're talking about 3 different hair textures. Now let's add in some porosity. Let's add in where you live. Believe it or not, where you live has a lot to do with how your hair comes out. You have hard water, you have soft water, there are so many factors that you're not thinking about or that you're not, it's just, there are so many things that are going into this person's hair care regimen, and typically when they are a hair guru, they also have fails. They also have things that don't work really well. They might not show it to you. They might not. But they're going to show you their best. You know, that's what people are paying them to do. That's what companies want them to do. They want them to show your best. Learn your hair and don't be upset when something doesn't come out verbatim how your hair guru's hair came out, okay? It's just never going to happen. As a matter of fact, anytime I do a bun, anytime I do a hairstyle, anytime I do my twist, they're never going to look the same. And to me, that is the beauty of natural hair. You could do the same hairstyle every single day and it's never going to look the same, okay? So I want you to listen to their advice, even with me. Just because I'm telling you not to do these things, the things that I'm getting ready to tell you not to do, they might not be ruining your hair, but they might be ruining someone else's. So do your research and listen to your hair, okay? So that is the first one. Number 2, and this is going to go into the first one, which is using the wrong products. Like I said, I want to keep this very basic. I will give you an example. Miss Jessie's, I remember when she came out on the market, it was all the rave. I did what everybody else did. I went out, I bought an entire hair care line. I think I spent like $75. And after I finished doing my hair, I looked crazy, okay? So I will say this about using the wrong products. Again, listen to your hair. Just because I use Miss Jessie's and it doesn't work for me, doesn't necessarily mean that it's not going to work from you, okay? When we're talking about natural hair, it's all about finesse and, again, listening to your hair, okay? So the third one, and I know this is a controversial subject when it comes to natural hair care, and I'm going to say stop jumping on these bandwagons. When things come up, like you have the coconut oil, you have the olive oil. Let me give you 2 examples of what I'm talking about. So very early on in my natural hair care journey, I was looking for ways to speed up the natural growth of my hair, which there are things that you can do, natural things, But I was just coming across some of the most weird and nasty things that I have ever heard of. The first one was monostat. So apparently what you do, again, you're going to your local Target, CVS, hair care store, you buy a whole bunch of monostat, and then you actually apply it to your scalp. You let it sit there for like 15 to 30 minutes, and it's supposed to cleanse your scalp. Okay? Let me say this. I call them purses. My girlfriends and I call the JJ a purse, okay? The skin and what's the word I'm looking for? Not the aura. The biology of your purse skin and the skin on your scalp are completely different, okay? Stop jumping on these bandwagons. I don't know if there's a horror story on there about using monostat, but I can just only imagine the problems that you're going to be having if you use monostat on your scalp. Now, the premise of that was basically to maintain a healthy scalp and to make sure that your scalp was clean, okay? But when I heard people were like going to like Target in droves and just buying like boxes and boxes of monostat, I was like, why? Have you done the research, or again, are you jumping on the bandwagon, or again, have you seen your favorite influencer use monostat on their skin or on their scalp and they've gotten these amazing results, okay? Let me give you a second example, and this is probably nastier than the first. I have no idea where this came from. I don't even want to know how you get it. I don't want to know how the produced. I don't want to know how the person who actually is selling it got it. But it was using whale sperm. Okay. You're talking about taking another mammal's sperm and putting it on your scalp and putting it on your hair. Now, I don't know what the regimen was supposed to be, because once I saw whale sperm, I turned the video off. I was done, okay? There is no telling what type of illness that could come from using that, what type of skin condition. You could have a reaction. Stop jumping on the bandwagons, okay? Stick to known natural things, okay? All right. Now, the fourth one is going to be another controversial topic. I am on the latter side of this. It is either trimming your hair too much or it is trimming your hair not enough, okay? And let's go ahead and break this down. So when we talk about trimming your hair too much, I know naturals, I know women. And this is, again, if you're trying to retain your length. If you just want blunt ends, healthy ends, and you're not into growing hair, that's fine. You can trim your ends however long or however often you want. But if you are trying to retain your length, trimming your ends every 4 to 6 weeks, every 2.5 months, every 2 weeks is going to get you nowhere, because by the end of the year, you would have cut off all of your progress, and then you're going to start going into this spiral because you think your hair is not growing, okay? So if you're trying to retain your length, you can dust. And basically, which I do with my twist, my hair is in twist right now. And basically, dusting is either looking at a twist or looking at your ends. And if they look a little wonky, you're cutting off like 1/10 of an inch just to even it up and just to make your tangling process a little bit easier, okay? We're not talking about, an actual cut. I know a lot of hairstylists get very scissor happy, but I'm talking about a trim, not a cut, okay? Now, on the flip side of that, trimming your ends too little. I trim my ends twice a year. I dust very often, so sometimes it's dusting and then just once. Most of the time when I'm getting a trim anywhere from 2 to 3 inches, I do consider that a trim. My hair is typically straight and I can see exactly what needs to be cut, okay? Now, I used to be of the mindset that I would rather want long hair than healthy ends. And when you start having long hair and your ends are not healthy, it just starts to make your hair look very scraggly, okay? And it doesn't look healthy as it gets thinner and thinner and thinner at the ends. And then also frizz. Believe it or not, if you don't keep up with your ends, your hair tends to look frizzier and it's not going to be as manageable, okay? Number 5, which is going to be another controversial topic. I myself only do it once a year, but it is going to be heat. Stop using all of these heating tools on your hair. I'm talking about blow dryers. I'm talking about flat irons, okay? I flat iron and straighten my hair once a year. There are naturals out there who do it every 2 weeks. There are naturals out there who do it every 3 months. Again, learn your hair and learn heat. learn what type of heat your hair can take, okay? Whether it be a blow dry or whether it be a flat iron, you should not be using the highest setting. Make sure you're using enough heat to get the desired look, but you should not be using the highest setting, and you should not be using more than 1 to 2 passes per strand, okay? And I don't know if you know this, in my research, I've actually found out that every single time you use a hair dryer, more or so a flat iron, you're actually changing the curl pattern of your hair. It kind of gives like the same effect as henna, okay? It's going to loosen your curl pattern. I don't know about you, but I don't want that to happen, simply because, like I said before, I have 3 textures in my hair, and I don't know how that's going to affect the textures of my hair. Then I would have to relearn my hair. I'd probably have to redo my hair regimen. So I will say this: from right here to right here is loose. From right here to right here is loose, and then in the middle is what I call my section. I have noticed, even though I have flat ironed my hair, I would probably say once a year for the past 5 years, I have noticed, especially like right here when it comes to these pieces right here, I have noticed that those strands have actually been straighter. Like I have a twist up here somewhere, and the end of it is it's not straight, but it's not curly either. And because I wear my hair in twists, I might just consider cutting it off. But that is not necessarily heat damage, but it has loosened the curl pattern of my hair, okay? So learn your hair, learn your heat threshold, okay? Number 6, and I am sitting here displaying it right now: protective hairstyling. And this, again, is another controversial topic when it comes to the natural hair care community. Some people are for it, some people are against it, some people have tips and tricks, some people have do's and don'ts. I will say this: as far as protective styling goes, my hair is in twist, and it's also up like in this bouffant. I put this in on Sunday, and I will probably not retouch my hair all the way up until Thursday, because I'll take my hair out Thursday and then I will wash it. So when we're talking about protective styling, a protective style is anything that will essentially do what it says. It will protect your hair, whether that be twist, whether that be braids, whether that be weave, whatever it is. But too much protective styling can actually hurt your hair. For instance, this hairstyle is a protective style within a protective style. So my go-to by signature is my twist, and I just kind of made like this bouffant type hairstyle. Y'all also know that I do not use ponytail holders. This look is all bobby pins. But the other thing that this look is not, it is not tight. There is no strain. There is nothing. I simply just pinned it right here, and then I just folded it over, and I just put a whole bunch of bobby pins in there. There is no strain. It doesn't hurt. My eyes are not pulled like this. My edges are not, being sacrificed. When you have these tight, protective and manipulated hairstyles, you will start to see one of the first things that's going to happen, especially if it's tightened through here. It is going to start to recede your hairline, and you will have no edges. I know it's terrible, but that is one of my pet peeves. You have this gorgeous head of hair and you have no edges, okay? The other reason why you have no edges is because, again, we're talking about protective and we're talking about manipulative hairstyles are the twists and are the braids and things that you're getting done to your hair with the fake hair, okay? Now, I have actually seen, I was in college and I was walking down the hallway behind this girl. She had braids in. While they were gorgeous, but I started noticing like these little black specks, and they were getting longer and longer and longer as she was walking. Her hair was actually falling out in the braid, okay? They were too tight, and for whatever reason, her hair would not take to them. She had an allergic reaction. She had a whole bunch of scabs on her scalp, okay? Watch out for these protective styles. When you are in the chair, and this is a whole nother conversation when we're talking about natural hair and hairstylists, but when you are in the chair, speak up, okay? If you have to take a Tylenol or an Advil before you get your hair braided, and then you have to go home and take a nap, chances are the braids are too tight, okay? The other thing is keeping these protective styles in for too long. I saw this video on YouTube when this girl kept her weave in for like a year. Not only is that disgusting, but it can lead to so many health issues when it comes to your scalp. Because the other thing, or the other reason why people don't like protective styling, or why protective styling gets a bad rap, is because people leave their hair in these protective styles and they don't protect their hair. So let's say this style right here, or let's say you have braids, or let's say you have a weave. You actually still have to maintain your hair so the protective style can do its job, okay? That's a whole nother story. I can do protective hairstyling, do and don'ts if y'all want me to, but just be very careful about your protective styling, okay? That's going to go kind of like with my next tip, which is over manipulation. These two are going to go hand in hand. When I'm talking about over manipulation, I'm talking about you being in your hair every single day. I have struggled with this since day one when it comes to being natural. If I don't have my hair up or if it's not tied back, I call it hands and hair syndrome. I could be sitting at my desk and I have a twist out. I'm just playing with it. And while it feels good and, while it makes me feel good to play with my hair, just to kind of check that it's there, even though our hair is resilient, it still doesn't like to be messed with very often, okay? And that's one of the reasons why people swear by protective styling. I do. Y'all know my go-to is my twist. I keep my twist in for 2 weeks. I wash them, I detangle my hair, and then I put them right back in. Within my twist, I do 2 basic hairstyles. I do a bun and I do a low bun. I do a high bun, and then sometimes I will get fancy and I will do this. If I'm sitting in the house all day or I'm not going to be leaving the house for a couple of days, I don't touch my hair. I will literally go from my bonnet that I sleep in to just putting my hair up, and it'll be like that for the next couple of days, okay? Now, of course, in between that, when I go to sleep, I will let it down and I will moisturize it if need be. I will put it back in my bonnet, and then the next day I will wrap it right back up, okay? You would be amazed at the progress of your hair if you just leave it alone, okay? So that was 6 and 7. Here's another one. I know this is also going to be another controversial, but in the age or in the era that we are in with so much technology and so much research at our fingertips, you do not need to, and I am guilty of this because I used to do it. You do not need to condition or deep condition your hair overnight, okay? With all of the technology that we have and with all of the new things that are being found out about natural hair, you actually have what you call a moisture threshold. Once that moisture is to where you're no longer, it's a threshold, meaning that you could go above that 2 hours or below that. It's not going to make much of a difference, okay? Look at the instructions on your deep conditioner. You will notice that most of them will say anything from 15 to 30 minutes, not even 45 minutes, okay? Stop conditioning your hair overnight, especially with the instructions that say 15 and 30 minutes. It's not going to do your hair any better. And actually, I haven't noticed a difference. Like I said, I am guilty of that. But one of the main reasons why I want you to stop doing that is because when you don't go to sleep with wet hair. Typically when someone who has straight hair, they go to bed with wet hair, that's fine because in the morning, it will be dry, okay? But when you have curly hair, you don't want to go to sleep with wet hair just all over the place because you will wake up with dry hair. So what do? We put a cap on it, okay? Now that cap is going to give us a greenhouse effect. Now while that is good for our hair anywhere from 15 to 30 minutes, you don't want to go to sleep like that anywhere from 6 to 8 hours. What you will find is that mold will actually start to grow in your hair and on your scalp, and that will just bring about a whole bunch of other scalp conditions that you do not want to deal with, okay? And the 9th tip, which I know people still do, and I really wish that they would not, but again, like I've said, this is all relative. If it works for you, then continue. If you see results, continue. But the next tip is to stop detangling your hair dry, okay? When your hair is curly, that's going to do exactly that. It's going to curl, but not just that, it's going to curl up on itself, okay? If you have ever seen, I don't think I've ever shown my twist close up, but the bottom of my twist, while they are curly, they have also begun to curl up on themselves, okay? And then they are twisted. If I was to just take out all of my twists and then just take my tangle teaser and start going to town, yes, I'm going to be taking out shed hair, but I'm also going to be pulling out hair that does not need to be pulled out, okay? You need to have some type of slip when you are detangling your hair. If you don't, you will be pulling out unnecessary hair, okay? And the last tip, this is more or so kind of like a mindset, and it is enjoy your journey, be blessed and be grateful and be humble about what you have. Be proud, because if not, the man upstairs is not going to bless you with more. If you can't see the beauty, if you can't see the gorgeousness of your hair in the stage that it's in, why would you be blessed with more? And I had to learn that very early on in my journey, because when I did my big chop, it wasn't a huge chop. I did not have a TWA, but I cut my hair right here, and it was the shortest that my hair had ever been. I was scared, and I didn't have low self-esteem, but I was like, okay, well, this is a new me, but let me step out in confidence and embrace this, because being natural is going to be a journey. You're going to have setbacks. You're going to have fails. You're going to have to cut your hair. I had to cut my hair back in 2017. I believe I had to cut anywhere off from 5.5 to 6 inches, but it's back. Okay. It's like I said, this tip is more of a mental thing. Be proud. As a curly woman, as a Black woman, you have to be proud. If no one else tells you today that you are beautiful, I want you to hear that from me. You are beautiful, even if you're not. These tips could actually be for someone who is relaxed, but I'm mainly focusing on my curly girls. But if no one has told you today that you're beautiful and your hair is beautiful, I am here to tell you that. Be proud, and you will start to realize, or you'll start to notice that your hair will start to flourish, because it is growing out from your scalp. Everything that happens in your body, you have to have kind of like a yin and yang. You have to have balance. And if you're stressed, what happens? Your hair falls out. So everything is interconnected, okay? So you're here, you're curly, and you're gorgeous, okay? So those are all the tips that I have for you ladies and guys if you are a curly guy. As you can see, I am very passionate when it comes to fashion, but I am also very passionate when it comes to natural hair, because for the life of me, I have never understood how someone, judges you or doesn't like you simply because of the hair that grows out of your head. I mean, that's the hair that you were blessed with. There is nothing that I can do about that. So I just try to embrace it. And if I can help out one curly girl at a time with these videos, then I am all for it. Then my job is done, okay? But I just want to remind you that here on YouTube, I do upload videos every Wednesday and Sunday. And then, of course, right here, I will put my Instagram handle. Thank you so much for hanging out with me, you guys. Bye.